Hi, welcome to the Dynamic Duel podcast, a weekly show where we review superhero films and debate the superiority between Marvel and DC by comparing their characters in stat-based battle simulations. I'm Marvelous Joe.
And I'm his twin brother, Johnny DC.
And in this episode, it's a duel episode, we will be finding out who will win in a fight between Hawkgirl versus Gamora.
And of course, we're doing this matchup in our lead up to our review of Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure Gamora is going to factor kind of heavily in that, considering where she left off in Infinity War.
Right, I'm so excited for that movie to come out, and this is one of the best ways to prep for that, considering that most of the characters that are appearing in Avengers Endgame have already had their own duel episodes on the show. So yeah, now it's Gamora's turn, and I'm really excited about this matchup because I have no idea who's going to win.
Yeah, neither do I. I really don't know too much about Gamora, other than she was raised by Thanos.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, my friend.
Oh, really? All right.
Before we get into that main event, we're going to go over the comic book movie news over the past week. There wasn't a whole lot of news to come out.
Yeah, a lot of it had to do with Marvel's Disney Plus app that's coming out.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a lot of marketing material that came out for the Avengers Endgame, but I don't think we're going to touch on any of that because a lot of it feels a little bit spoilery. We're seeing clips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the TV spots that are revealing some information from the movie that I don't really want to watch and or talk about.
Yeah, I haven't seen them either.
Just because I want to go in as fresh as possible.
Right. But we will be talking about how Jeremy Renner will be starring in a Hawkeye TV series on Disney Plus that's also set to feature Kate Bishop.
Yep, but before the news, we want to give a huge thank you to the Briannosaurus Rex, Neophyte Vegan, and Misanthropy for your reviews on iTunes.
Those are great names. Great names.
We're up to 96 ratings now on iTunes. We're almost halfway to our goal of 200 ratings on Apple Podcasts, at which point we become eligible to become critics on the Rotten Tomatoes site and have our reviews of the Marvel and DC movies count toward the official tomato meter for those films.
So if you could help us out either by giving us a rating or by sharing us with your friends or family members,
we'd love it.
We'd love it so much. Oh my gosh.
I mean, and also you don't have to share us with your friends and family. You could also share us on social media as well. You can reach a lot of people that way.
I know so many people on social media who are not my friends or family. I don't even know who they are.
Exactly. All right. But with that out of the way,
quick to the No Prize. So a No Prize is an award that Marvel used to give out up until the 90s to fans. Our version, the Dynamic Duel No Prize, is a digital award that we post on social media that I personally draw for those who we feel gave the best answer to our question of the week.
Last week's question was, what character do you think Idris Elba will end up playing in the Suicide Squad sequel that's being directed by James Gunn? It was revealed a week ago that he actually won't be replacing Will Smith as Deadshot. He'll be playing a different character.
Which seemed to be news to a lot of people.
Yeah, people who don't listen to this show.
Yeah, I know. What are you guys doing? Not listening to the show. That's why you don't know. Next time, listen to the show. No, but we got a lot of great answers. And one really good specific answer that I really wanted to give the award to because it was so perfect. It was actually our first answer. It was given to us by Ariana Quadra, and that was Bronze Tiger. And I can't believe I didn't even think about that.
It's just so perfect. It's so perfect. The problem is that everybody thought about that.
Yes. Not only did Ariana Quadra choose Bronze Tiger, but so did Tim Brown, Alex Yanez, Kieran Pomare, Caleb Albers, and Jacob Bell. And as much as I would love to give the award to you guys, I always like to give it to someone who gave like a really unique answer that I didn't think of.
Right. We can't just give this award to everybody.
Right.
What is this?
What is this, a participation award? No. So, congrats to those guys. Also, congrats to Colby Henches, who gave the answer Sinestro.
That'd be cool.
Which is actually really cool.
He'd make such a great Sinestro.
He would.
Honorable mention also goes to CJ Kraft, who gave the answer Mr. Terrific, who is a hero character, but could certainly appear in a Suicide Squad film. Honorable mention also goes to Joel Seagrave, who gave the answer of Azrael, which was interesting. How cool would it be for Idris Elba to play the successor of the Bat?
Oh man, that would be cool. I would love to see Azrael on film. That would be really awesome. Honorable mention also goes to Dustin Ray Balcom, who gave the answer Black Spider, which some of these answers were pretty obscure. Congrats to you guys who thought outside the box. Black Spider is a Batman villain who's an expert thief. Jeremy Hoyt also gave an obscure answer in Massacre, who's a Superman villain.
And honorable mention also goes to Kenneth McNeese Jr., who gave the answer of Nemesis,
who's a Wonder Woman villain, and he actually was in the Suicide Squad.
Okay, all right. Honorable mention also goes to Andrew Jason Allen, who gave the answer of Steel.
John Henry Irons! I could totally see Idris Elba taking over for Shaq. It's like a dream role.
Shaq.
Congrats also to Uranagami, who gave the answer Rick Flag / Killer Croc. Now, I'm not sure why they would recast Killer Croc. I imagine if they're not going to recast Deadshot, they probably wouldn't recast any character.
Possibly.
I'm not sure.
But Iranigami has a great Instagram channel. If you guys are into superheroes and superhero toys, definitely check him out. That's YRANIGAMI.
Yeah, the number of action figures he has. Oh my gosh.
I'm jealous.
Super jealous.
Honorable mention also goes to Gavamai, who answered that Idris Elba will be playing a reimagined Amanda Waller.
Which is not going to happen because we know that Viola Davis is returning.
Right. Honorable mention also goes to Darian Sykes and Matthew Gonzalez, who coincidentally both gave the answer of either Rick Flag or King Shark.
And King Shark would be really cool.
He'd just be playing the voice, basically.
Yeah, be like mocap.
Yeah, otherwise, just put in Killer Croc.
Right, they're interchangeable, in my opinion.
Alex Yanez, who we mentioned earlier, also gave the answer of Steel or Multiplex.
Again, another obscure one. Multiplex was a member of the Suicide Squad, and I think he's a Firestorm villain.
All right. And the final honorable mention goes to Jason Brownlee, who gave the answer of Sportsmaster.
And if anyone has seen the Young Justice cartoon, which I'm sure a lot of people have, you know who Sportsmaster is. He's pretty cool. He's kind of like Captain America. Like, he's just like this perfect human. But the winner of this week's No Prize goes to Adam Spees for his answer of Manchester Black.
And I don't know who that is.
How do you not know who Manchester Black was?
Because I hate DC.
He was actually like the starring villain in a Superman animated feature that came out called Superman versus the Elite.
Which was based off the same arc from the comics.
Yeah, it was based on one issue. It was like Superman 775. I used to own it. Pretty good issue, really good character. He's a telepath and telekinetic, and he really like forces Superman to like question his role as like this goody two-shoe in the world we live in now. Really fascinating character. I really like the choice because as Adam explained when he gave his answer, like Idris Elba wouldn't even have to change his accent for the role.
Right.
And not only that, as a bonus, the character of Manchester Black has been in the Suicide Squad in the comics. So it's just perfect.
Perfect answer.
As perfect an answer as you could get next to Bronze Tiger.
Congrats to Adam Spees.
Yeah, this is the second week in a row one of the Spees brothers has gotten the No Prize. It's almost as if they have their own podcast dedicated to casting like comic book films and 90s properties.
Right.
They're like really good at it.
They are really good at it. Definitely check their podcast out at the Blast from Our Past podcast if you haven't already, because it's definitely worth a listen if you grew up in the late 80s / early 90s.
Awesome. Well, congrats again, Spees.
If you, the listener, are interested in winning a No Prize for yourself, go ahead and stay tuned to later on this episode when we will be asking another question of the week. And now that that's done,
on to the news.
All right, so last week we got a bunch of news regarding the Disney Plus app and the Marvel shows that will be on it. We already knew about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier television show, which is going to be called Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We also already knew about the Scarlet Witch and Vision series, which is not going to be called Scarlet Witch and Vision, but WandaVision.
Which
is fucking stupid.
Horrible.
God damn it.
It's a horrible name.
Why?
Ugh.
Is this supposed to be like Wonder Vision, but with Wanda?
It's like they couldn't find any better combination of their two names.
Have they never referred to Wanda as the Scarlet Witch within the MCU films? I don't think they have.
Oh, wow. You might be right.
I think it's high time that they did that. It should have been called Vision and the Scarlet Witch.
Or like Chaos Theory. Or like Chaotic Visions.
Or Vision and the Scarlet Witch. We also got some news regarding the What If television show that we talked about a few episodes ago. We learned that the first episode of that television show is going to be What If Peggy Carter became Captain America? And we learned that another episode is going to involve Steve Rogers donning the Iron Man suit during World War II. So really excited for that animated series, that anthological series. It's going to be great. And of course, there's also the Loki show that's going to be called Loki. But the biggest bit of news to come out of this Disney event, I think, was the previously unmentioned news that there will be a Hawkeye television show on Disney+. And it will be starring Jeremy Renner, and it's going to introduce the character of Kate Bishop, who is the Young Avengers Hawkeye in the Marvel Universe. And she's pretty adept. She doesn't just use a bow and arrow. She also uses billy clubs that Mockingbird uses, and Swordmaster's sword, and a bunch of other weapons.
Now, she's not Hawkeye's daughter.
No, she's not. But he does take it upon himself to train her further in her archery skills. And he lets her use his codename and things like that. Because she took on the codename with the Young Avengers while Hawkeye was dead in the comics at that time. So it'll be an interesting show, I think. I'm really glad to see that Jeremy Renner will be continuing on past Endgame to star in this Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff with his character. It would be cool if they based the series off of Matt Faction's run, I think, from the comics. But as of right now, we don't know what the story is going to be.
I think it's interesting because it just kind of hints at what they plan on doing with these characters in the future of the MCU.
Right. Well, we know that like teenager Cassie Lang is also going to be in Endgame, so it looks like they're really setting up the characters of the Young Avengers. We may even get a Young Avengers movie down the line or a television show.
It's not going to be better than Titans.
Yeah, they probably won't say fuck Captain America in it.
Jeez. You're probably right.
What's cool is that this Disney Plus app, they revealed when it's going to come out and how much it's going to cost. It's coming out November 12th in the United States, and it's only going to cost $6.99 a month.
What?
That's way more content than the DC Universe app.
For $1 less a month.
Yeah, exactly.
What the heck?
Yeah, DC Universe really needs to drop their price if they want people to subscribe to that.
I don't know, because DC Universe recently announced that they're putting like the full digital library on DC Universe.
Who cares about that?
I do. You can't get comics on Disney Plus.
$6.99 a month is cheaper than Netflix, and you can even choose to pay for the entire year at once, which costs $69.99, which only comes out to $5.83 a month.
Holy
which
shit,
is
Disney.
An insanely great deal.
If anyone could afford to do that, it's Disney, though.
That's true.
Everyone's going to be subscribing to that.
Probably
except for me, because fuck Disney.
Oh, your daughters will make you subscribe.
Yeah, probably.
I think the most interesting thing about this news regarding the Hawkeye television show, though, is that it means that Jeremy Renner's Clint Barton will be surviving the events of Avengers Endgame. It's kind of a spoiler a little bit.
Well, along with Falcon and Winter Soldier and Vision and Scarlet Witch, so.
Yeah, I wonder if the Falcon and Winter Soldier television show is going to be in regards to how they deal with Captain America's legacy.
That's what I'm thinking.
If Cap dies in Endgame.
Yeah.
Which he might.
That's what I'm assuming is going to happen for the show.
Yeah, well, that brings us to our question of the week. Which hero or heroes do you think will die in Avengers Endgame? It's good to get the speculation out of the way right before the movie comes out. I think quite a few characters will not be returning after the events of this film, but I want to know which ones you think they are.
How are you going to choose a winner for this?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Post your answer to our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or email us at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com. We'll pick our favorite answer and draw that person a Dynamic Duel No Prize that we'll post to social media.
And that does it for our news segment. That was quick.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and get into the main event of this episode, where we find out who's going to win in a fight between Hawkgirl and Gamora.
Can't wait.
All right, Hawkgirl versus Gamora. As I pitched it in our episode last week, I said this is going to be the Ultimate Warrior versus the Ultimate Assassin. And I'm really looking forward to answering that question this episode. As you all know, Gamora is a major player in the Guardians of the Galaxy team in the movies and in the comics. And Hawkgirl is a major player in the Justice League. I think that her biggest role so far has been in the Justice League cartoon, but she did play a minor role in, I think, Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, she was one of the main characters in the first season.
Yeah, they're both really powerful fighter women, and I think that this is going to be one hell of a match between the two.
Yeah, I knew we were going to do a matchup with Gamora, and I was trying to decide who to pit against her. It was a pretty hard decision.
Yeah, initially we were going to pit Hawkgirl against Falcon, but then we decided that this was the better matchup, and we could pit somebody like Black Condor against Falcon or something like that later down the line. But if you've never listened to one of our Duel episodes before, the way we determine the winner between these two characters is by using their statistics. Now, we gather these statistics from the official Marvel Power Rankings grid, and we use those numbers to extrapolate the DC stats among that set of criteria. And we take those numbers and we put them in what's called a Monte Carlo simulation that randomizes each stat number along a normal distribution, and that accounts for all the variables that will take place during battle. It's all very mathematical.
Yeah, and the stats that we take from the Marvel Power Rankings grid aren't the only stats we factor into these simulations. We also incorporate several others just to make a more robust simulation.
So we don't go off of fan votes, we don't go off of uncharacteristic feats of strength.
Just all stats all the time.
The simulation that we run 1,000 times, and that gives us a percentage of wins for each character. The character with the highest percentage of wins, we declare the winner. So let's go over the histories and powers of these characters and learn more about them before we speculate on how a fight would go. I will go first with the character of Gamora. So Gamora is actually from the future. 20 years into the future, Gamora was born on a pacifist alien planet called Zen-Huberi. Its entire population was wiped out by the Universal Church of Truth, a religious order led by the Magus, a future evil counterpart to the cosmic hero named Adam Warlock.
Oh.
The Grand Inquisitors of the Church sought to create a universal empire and would kill any who resisted. Gamora was the sole survivor of her people's genocide, but was rescued by the mad Titan Thanos, who brought her back to the current timeline as part of a scheme to thwart the rise of the Magus and the Universal Church of Truth. He raised Gamora aboard his space station called the Sanctuary and trained her to become the ultimate assassin to be used one day against the Magus. He also enhanced her physical abilities using technological implants and psychically manipulated her into not recognizing the morality of her actions. As she grew, she became an expert in many of the universe's martial arts styles, and Thanos had her begin her mission by assassinating the Grand Inquisitors of the Universal Church of Truth, hoping that eventually her actions would disrupt the timeline of the Magus' rise to power. Though she wasn't powerful enough to take on the Magus by herself, when the time came, she teamed up with Adam Warlock to defeat his evil future counterpart. She later became Adam Warlock's personal bodyguard, during which time she was attacked by Drax the Destroyer, whose sole purpose in life was to kill Thanos as revenge for the death of his family. She managed to escape Drax and fled back to Thanos, but learned of his plans to destroy half the universe as a sacrifice to the cosmic entity of death. And you can learn more about this in our Darkseid vs. Thanos Duel episode. Gamora tried to kill Thanos to stop him, but he killed her instead. Before she fully passed away, however, Adam Warlock used the Soul Gem to absorb her consciousness and save her life.
Oh.
During the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, Adam projected his and Gamora's souls into bodies on Earth, where they helped warn and prepare Marvel's heroes for the battle against Thanos and his Infinity Gems. After Thanos was defeated, Gamora stayed alongside Adam Warlock, who was the new wielder of the Infinity Gauntlet. Adam was convinced he was unworthy of all that power, however, and he decided to split the gems up among those he trusted, forming the Infinity Watch. Gamora was given the Time Gem, which she used in a battle alongside the Watch as they teamed up with Thanos to fight and defeat the Magus again, who was recreated when Adam Warlock purged his good and bad sides to become a fully logical being. The Infinity Watch also had to defeat his good side, called the Goddess, who sought to destroy all sin by destroying the universe itself. Partially out of her feelings for Adam Warlock, Gamora surrendered her Time Gem and left the Infinity Watch. She became a galactic assassin for a while, hunting and fighting a group of Thanos' clones called Thanosai. Or Thanosi? I'm not sure. She led a female fighting group called the Graces leading up to the Annihilation event, when a villain called Annihilus invaded the universe from a dimension called the Negative Zone. Gamora joined Star-Lord and Nova in the front against Annihilus' forces, where she helped save the Kree Empire. After being infected and purging the influence of the Phalanx aliens, who are a technological parasitic race of beings, she joined a team of heroes called the Guardians of the Galaxy. And you can learn more about this in our Adam Strange vs. Star-Lord Duel episode. They had to team up with Adam Warlock to once again fight the evil of the Reformed Magus and the Universal Church of Truth. She also helped the Guardians fight alongside the Avengers to stop a Badoon invasion on Earth. After a series of dreams revealed to her that a part of her soul still resided within the Soul Gem, she left the Guardians to set out to acquire it, using the help of a master forger from the planet Nidavellir.
That sounds familiar.
That's from Infinity War.
Okay.
The forger made her an unbreakable suit of armor and the Infinity Blade, upon which rested the Power Stone she stole from Star-Lord. With the sword, she killed Thanos and took on the name Requiem. She used the Infinity Sword to attack a new iteration of the Infinity Watch and wrested the other remaining gems, including the Soul Gem she initially sought. Her soul became whole once more, and she used her power to create a duplicate universe where there was no suffering. However, in doing so, she also created duplicates of the Infinity Gems themselves, and the Cosmic Avengers used the duplicates to relinquish her of her power. And that's pretty much her history. Now, Gamora is often referred to as the deadliest woman in the universe. Trained from an early age in how to kill, she knows 83.4% of all the universe's combat techniques.
The fuck?
Making her one of the greatest fighters in all of Marvel. She was augmented by Thanos with artificial physiological enhancements, granting her increased strength, able to lift about 10 tons, speed, agility, and durability. His experiments also granted her a metal skeleton and a regenerative healing factor that lets her heal from life-threatening wounds in just moments. So she's kind of like the female Wolverine.
Yeah.
As far as weapons go, she has most commonly wielded the Godslayer sword, a powerful blade capable of killing beings as powerful as Thanos, as well as several daggers. She prefers bladed weapons over firearms, though she has used them before and is an expert markswoman in shooting and throwing.
Wait, so what will she have in this match?
She won't have firearms because she does prefer not to use them, so she'll have the Godslayer sword as well as other knives.
Ha! Poor thing. I feel bad for her already.
Hawkgirl has no weapon that's more powerful than the Godslayer sword.
Yes, she does. She has an nth metal mace.
What a piece of shit.
No. No, you don't even know. Let me get into Hawkgirl's backstory now.
Okay.
So if you've listened to our Hawkman vs. Wolverine episode, you'll remember me explaining how convoluted Hawkman's history was. And for that reason, I largely ignored most of it and only explained the character's New 52 origin, in which the character had nth metal blood that allowed him to heal and create metal weaponry, which made him a good match for someone like Wolverine, who has unbreakable metal bones and a healing factor. Well, that version of Hawkman is obsolete. His new origin is currently being explored in his current ongoing comic, as is Hawkgirl's in the pages of Justice League. For that reason, I don't want to make the same mistake I made with Hawkman, so I'm going to dive more extensively into the pre-New 52 history of Hawkgirl. Here's what we know so far. Thousands of years ago in ancient Egypt, Prince Khufu and his princess Chayera witnessed the crash landing of an alien Thanagarian ship made of nth metal. Now, nth metal, also known as ninth metal, is a very special element in the DC universe. We recently learned that when the universes of DC's multiverse were forged, they were made from 10th metal, also known as Element X. It's an element of pure creation, and every single object and being in DC's existence has trace amounts of 10th metal in it. Some new god technology, such as mother boxes, are made from pure 10th metal. But 10th metal is made from smelting and purifying lesser metals, including nth metal, from which 10th metal is derived. Oh my gosh, my voice is going as I speak. I apologize. I'm still recovering from being sick like 2 weeks ago. So, the planet Thanagar had an abundance of nth metal, which allowed them to warp the fundamental forces of the universe, such as gravity. The nth metal from the Thanagarian ship that crash landed in ancient Egypt was stripped and reworked by the ancient Egyptians. An Egyptian priest named Hathset wielded an nth metal blade and slayed Princess Chayara and her prince. Chayara and Khufu were reincarnated and would continue to do so throughout time in a cycle where they would reunite, discover nth metal, and use it to help save innocents until their eventual deaths.
Well, why were they reincarnated?
That's a great question. They thought their reincarnation was a result of being killed by an nth metal blade, but in reality, the nth metal merely erased the memories of their previous lives. Both Khufu and Chayera had lived countless lives throughout time, space, and even different dimensions. They reincarnated on different planets, like Krypton, Ran, and even Thanagar, where they served as winged police officers known as Katar Hol and Shayera Thal on Earth 1. During the dawn of man on Earth, they were the founders of one of the first 3 tribes of man, the Hawk tribe. During World War II, on Earth 2, they were archaeologists Carter Hall and Shayera Sanders, who discovered nth metal and developed it into armor and wings, and crusaded as the superheroes Hawkman and Hawkgirl. After the Crisis on Infinite Earths event in the 80s merged DC's multiverse into a single universe, Hawkgirl, the Shayera Thal version from Thanagar, was killed by Queen Commander, also known as Blackfire, sister of Starfire, during the Ran-Thanagar War. When Hawkgirl was reborn, this time her soul inhabited the body of a recently deceased woman named Kendra Saunders. Because of this unique circumstance of reincarnation, Kendra did not remember her past lives with Hawkman, though she nevertheless took up Hawkgirl's mantle, and over time, after serving on teams such as the JSA, JLA, and Birds of Prey, she realized her love for Hawkman and remembered all of her previous lives. Since the New 52 reboot of continuity in 2011 and DC's subsequent Rebirth era, there have been 3 Hawkgirls, all of whom are essentially the same person, and it's been revealed that Hawkman and Hawkgirl do not reincarnate chronologically, so multiple Hawkgirls can exist at the same time.
What the hell?
Shayera Thal was a Thanagarian princess who eventually became the empress of the winged planet Thanagar Prime. Kendra Munoz Saunders was the gun-wielding Tomb Raider version of Hawkgirl of Earth 2, and most recently, Kendra Saunders of Earth Prime was the leader of the paramilitary organization known as the Blackhawks, whose mission was to prevent the apocalypse. She was also a member of the Council of Immortals, an Illuminati-type group of the oldest beings on Earth. Kendra joined the rest of Earth's heroes in stopping an ancient, universe-corrupting villain known as Barbados, who unleashed a team of corrupt, superpowered Batmen that almost destroyed the multiverse. After being corrupted by Barbados into becoming the villainous nth metal-winged Lady Blackhawk, Kendra was healed by Wonder Woman's lasso, and she killed Barbados with her nth metal weaponry. Since that encounter, her wings have remained nth metal, and she now serves as a core member of the Justice League. The version of Hawkgirl I'm using in this battle won't have those metal wings. They're just a little too new. But she will have her nth metal flying harness, armor, and weaponry, including a mace, spiked gauntlets, a dagger, and a crossbow, all of which she spent literal lifetimes mastering. Not only does she have battle prowess and martial arts mastery that spans millions of years, but she also has enhanced strength, durability, vision, and accelerated healing.
How strong is she?
DC's strength classifications aren't as defined as Marvel's. I would say she would lift anywhere between 15 and 25 tons, maybe more.
So you think she's stronger than Gamora?
I definitely think she's stronger than Gamora.
Because I've seen some sources that say that Gamora is as strong as Iron Man, even though that's not actually true. She's been depowered since she lost the Black Vortex power. But either way, I'm actually thinking that these two characters would be about the same amount of strength. Because depending on the source you read, the numbers are different, and in the comics, their strength is wildly inconsistent.
That's fair. And, honestly, it depends on whether Hawkgirl is Thanagarian at the time or if she's human. Nth metal will increase her strength, but Thanagarians are naturally stronger than humans.
So we'll surmise that they're about the same strength then.
Sure, yeah, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay. It seems like Hawkgirl's history is just a lot of lazy retconning on behalf of DC's writers.
What are you talking about?
The writing of her history is 90% rewriting.
But it's been that way for those characters throughout their entire, history.
They just need to settle on something.
They did. All of their histories are true now.
Oh, yeah, not only can they reincarnate, they don't reincarnate chronologically.
No.
Which means both Hawkgirl and Hawkman can reincarnate back in time.
Yeah.
So weird.
It's pretty fascinating. I think it's pretty interesting.
Or they can reincarnate to a time period where they've already lived before.
Yes.
Dumb.
Why? I don't expect your little Marvel brain to be able to comprehend the workings of the DC universe. Time is not a river, it's an ocean.
Are you on drugs?
That's how the Adam was explaining it to Hawkman when he was explaining the whole concept.
So Adam's on drugs. Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, now that we got their histories and powers out of the way, let's go ahead and speculate on how we think one of the 1,000 simulations we're going to run will actually play out in kind of an improvised scenario. So for this scenario, Jonathan and I don't really set any rules, save for that the characters start about 50 yards apart. They don't know anything about each other other than the fact that they're threats to each other, and they're fighting in a location in which the environment does not play a factor within the battle itself.
Right, because environment, we don't take a stat for it because it's too variable, and certain characters can have an advantage in some environments and not in others.
Right, when we run these simulations, we assume that each character wins based on their own merits and not due to outside factors.
Exactly.
So, Gamora and Hawkgirl starting 50 yards apart in a non-environment. Let's go ahead and see how this will play out. Who goes first?
Well, you mentioned that Gamora is only coming into this battle with knives, right? No, laser pistols or anything like that?
No, I don't think I'll give them to her.
Okay, good. Because Hawkgirl can see that with her enhanced vision. She pulls out her crossbow and she fires a dart right at Gamora.
Gamora knocks the crossbow bolt out of the air with her enhanced reflexes using her Godslayer sword, and then retaliates in one smooth motion by throwing a dagger that she was carrying at her hip straight at Hawkgirl's face.
Okay, but Hawkgirl sees it coming and she takes to the air. She takes flight and spreads her wings, and it's all majestic and beautiful. And Gamora's just like, damn, I'm jealous.
Gamora can leap pretty high, giving her enhanced strength, so she leaps up into the air.
Oh, then Hawkgirl just flies higher. And Gamora just misses and she just falls back
down to the ground. That's fine. So now she just stares up and waits for Hawkgirl to make her move, I guess, since Hawkgirl's too much of a coward.
Oh, jeez. Okay, but Hawkgirl could dive bomb pretty quick. It's like what birds do.
Okay, yes.
So she comes like diving in with her mace ready, and she just
And then
plows
Gamora rolls
into
right out of the way at the very last
gosh.
second, and Hawkgirl plows into the ground face first.
No, that wouldn't happen.
Well, what would Hawkgirl do if Gamora suddenly rolled out of the way at the very last second?
She would just arc back up into the sky.
Okay, so as Hawkgirl's arcing back up, her back is turned toward Gamora, who's on the ground.
No, because she's looking backwards with her crossbow and firing a few more bolts.
Okay, well, I'll let one of the bolts hit Gamora this
Yes!
time. So, like, it hits Gamora, like, say, in the leg or something. Gamora rips the bolt out, and then the wound heals on her leg.
That fast?
Yeah, it's pretty fast.
Okay.
And she leaps back up into the air while Hawkgirl is still flying upward, and she pierces one of Hawkgirl's wings with that very same bolt.
Okay, once that happens, Hawkgirl just kicks Gamora like right in the face with her clawed foot, so she falls back down to the earth. Hawkgirl pulls out the bolt from her wing, and her wing heals.
Her healing factor works that quick?
Yes. Okay, so by this point, Hawkgirl realizes that like she's gonna need to get up close and personal, but she's not afraid to get her hands dirty. So she like dives back down at Gamora with a dagger in one hand and a mace in the other, and she just slams right into her with the dagger.
And Gamora blocks the dagger with one of her daggers and blocks the mace with her Godslayer sword.
Okay, but then Hawkgirl just headbutts Gamora right in the face with her antimetal hawk helmet.
Okay, so Gamora gets hurt pretty bad. Probably has like a pretty bloody nose and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So now Gamora activates the energy field around her Godslayer sword. So it's even more powerful. And she leaps at Hawkgirl and starts slicing and hacking and chops her wings off.
No, because Hawkgirl's too busy blocking the Godslayer sword with her antimetal mace, which is energized with electricity and energy, and it's blocking those Godslayer strikes.
Okay, so they're just trading blows with their energized weapons back and forth. Probably both skilled enough to not be able to land any damage for quite a while as they parry and block and thrust and slash until eventually Gamora does like a backflip spin over Hawkgirl's head and kicks her midair so that Hawkgirl's helmet flies off. So the helmet goes flying away from her, so she's not protected by it anymore.
All right, so Gamora thinks that she has some kind of advantage, so she like takes like a leaping strike towards Hawkgirl, but Hawkgirl slams her mace down to the ground before she could do that, creating like this seismic tremor that like knocks Gamora off her feet. And Hawkgirl uses that moment to her advantage to throw her antimetal dagger right into Gamora's heart.
Okay, but Gamora's metal skeleton blocks the blade from entering her heart.
It went in horizontally.
No, it went in vertically.
Oh, gosh.
And the slats of her ribcage stopped it. So Gamora pulls this blade out of her chest. She's like, oh, thank God Thanos gave me this metal skeleton. She pulls it out and she like leaps through the air, kind of spinning almost like this crazy martial arts tornado with her sword in one hand and the dagger in the other. And it's almost like a saw blade move that's just cutting into Hawkgirl.
Oh, really? Well, Hawkgirl counters, like she blocks it with her antimetal gauntlets. Then she like pulls Gamora over her with her momentum and does this maneuver where she has Gamora flat on her stomach with her foot on her neck.
And then Gamora does this crazy ass like breakdance move where she like spins her legs around and gets out from underneath Hawkgirl's foot and sweeps Hawkgirl's legs so that she's on the ground. And then Gamora uses some of that Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but like way better, and puts Hawkgirl in this armbar move and then breaks her fucking arm.
Okay, then when Hawkgirl's like unbroken arm, she grabs Gamora and keeps her close to her, then like rockets right into the air. And then like at the last second when she reaches her pinnacle, she just hurls Gamora like even higher. So now Gamora's just like free falling at this insane height.
Okay, so she flew Gamora up into the sky and then threw her up into the air?
Yes.
Yeah, Gamora's probably thinking, oh shit. From how high of a distance do you think she's falling?
About 600 meters.
That seemed really random.
It was.
That's a pretty good height. I think Gamora is going to try to catch her fall by jamming her dagger into the side of Hawkgirl.
No. Hawkgirl's already like far away from her.
Damn it.
In fact, she like flies above her and is just like watching her fall.
Well, Gamora died from a fall in Infinity War.
That's right.
But before Gamora can actually hit the ground and die, because she's falling from such a height that it'll take a while, she hurls her sword like a tomahawk, and it spins through the air and just chops Hawkgirl's head right off.
Jeez.
And that happens before Gamora hits the ground and dies. So Gamora wins.
Okay. That's probably a good place to leave it off. Either Gamora's sword misses and she dies, or it connects and Hawkgirl dies before Gamora. Either way, Gamora dies.
Exactly. All right. Let's go ahead and run these simulations now and find out exactly who came out of this matchup on top. Okay, this was a close one. I like how close this came out to be.
Really close.
Yeah, their stats were pretty comparable. We learned that Hawkgirl is a little bit faster, Gamora is a little bit more of a better fighter, but otherwise, in terms of all their other stats like strength and range and durability and like intelligence and stuff like that, they're pretty much dead even. This might end up being a coin toss match.
It will be. It definitely will be.
And that's usually where we get results where the percentage of wins for the winning character is like within 20 wins, basically, out of 1,000 matches. It's super close, basically meaning that if we were to run these simulations again, we might get a different winner depending on what side the coin came up on.
Exactly. I think we've only done that once, and that was with like Hawkeye, Green Arrow.
There's been a few times that we've done that, actually. I think Zatanna versus Scarlet Witch was another one.
Oh, yeah. But typically, we don't run the simulations again. Whatever the results are the first time, that's what we stick with.
Right, exactly. So, given the fact that these characters are so close in terms of statistics, who do you think won this particular duel?
Well, probably you, because I freaking lose all of these coin toss matches.
You sound bitter?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, because my friend Gamora won this match. 511 matches to Hawkgirl's 489 matches.
Of course.
Marvel always wins.
No, you don't. I think I'm still ahead overall by like 1 or 2 matches.
Gamora came out on top. It wasn't necessarily because she was a better fighter than Hawkgirl. It just happened to be that she probably got lucky a few more times than Hawkgirl did during the course of these simulations. So that does it for this episode. Go ahead and write into us, guys, via email or social media. Let us know what you thought about the match and your thoughts about Gamora winning. You can reach us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you can find links to all of our social media profiles by visiting dynamicduel.com.
Yeah, and on our website, you'll find a link to our merchandise store, which is on tpublic.com. And if you click on that link from our website, you'll get 15% off your first order. And if you want an even better deal, if you order one of our t-shirts within the first 3 days of me uploading the design, which is the no prize illustrations, you'll get 30% off.
Right, so that means you have until about, I think, Thursday, April 18th.
There's like a countdown clock next to the t-shirt price, so they'll be able to see that.
Okay, perfect. Well, that does it for this episode. In our next episode, we will be reviewing the direct-to-video DC animated film called Justice League versus the Fatal Five.
Yeah, it's just a slight detour on our way to Avengers Endgame. We didn't know that this film was going to be released right before Avengers Endgame. Otherwise, we probably would have done another Duel episode.
Right, yeah, but it'll be fun to review a DC film and a Marvel film back-to-back. So look forward to our next 2 episodes. And until then,
up and away,
true believers.